Welcome to Match of the Day 3. Pat Nevin and Jason Roberts are with me. We've just watched Newcastle against Stoke and Liverpool against Spurs for Match of the Day 2. So we're going to loosen the ties a bit and we're going to have some fun, but we don't have a huge amount of time, actually a lot to get through. So let's go straight into the results over the weekend and you can pick out the ones that matter more.
Oh, I think we all know right at the start that, I'd say West Brom against Swansea was the least important result of the whole day. I've dropped that absolutely completely. I suppose the game that I was watching closest was the Reading versus Aston Villa. For me, that summed up what it was all about, because Aston Villa are the highest of the high just now, and Reading ain't.
It's good to start Match of the Day 3 with a smile, Jace. Sorry about that.
I'm trying. I thought QPR was a big result as well for them, obviously, to get those points on the board and to come level with us. Gives them a lot of hope. Back-to-back wins, so it's a big thing for them.
You're a big man for saying that, because the impossible dream is now a probable dream. You go as far as to say 10th in the form table. They've got the man with the Midas touch in the dugout.
I think likely, it's not likely yet, but it's getting
more than
very,
possible.
very close to it now. Yeah. And I think if you look at the goal scorers that are coming on stream now for QPR, is basically a new team. Do not take their stats from the start of the season up until Christmas, because this ain't the same team. Important players have all changed, and just maybe little changes like Tarap being dropped. You know, such a great player, but in the end, lots of people say in the past, these guys will get you the sack, and you know, or they'll get you relegated. And it's purely because you need every 11 players working for 90 minutes every single week, and maybe he doesn't do it all the time. Great player though he is.
What's just happened to your ear?
My earpiece is just falling out. I've just tried to hide it cunningly.
It doesn't matter.
Does that not work?
Stupid now.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah,
wow.
We'll leave it like that.
So slick, so slick. We could talk about them off the pitch, about whether they stay up or go down, but we don't have 3 hours, because that's how long it would probably take. We were obviously doing the Premier League stuff on the BBC, but obviously adoring the FA Cup as always. The 4 quarter-final results, only 2 decided at this stage, but because of the draw, we know either Wigan, Blackburn or Millwall are in an FA Cup final.
I think it's exciting. I mean, obviously for me, I've got a little bit of an eye on the Wigan possible Blackburn game. I think it's amazing to get teams like that into the cup final. But you know, I mean, everyone's going to be looking at the Man City versus United or Chelsea, and who can come. Will that be sort of like the final before the actual final?
Do you think Brian McDermott and Harry Redknapp, Paul Lambert are all cheering Wigan on? They all wanted them to make that semi-final, give them something else to worry about and another fixture?
I think they are. I think when you're in a run like that, certainly the cup is such a big deal for everyone. I think the players, there's an element of, are the players going to be looking at that? Will they take their eye off the ball? Wigan have been so adept at getting out of trouble at the last minute. Could this be the thing that sort of changes their mentality? Because they've done it so well over the past 5-6 seasons. Will this be the thing that might just change that mentality?
From the Chelsea point of view, coming from 2-0 down at Old Trafford, you were getting paid to watch Liverpool, which I loved. You weren't able, but we had a tiny little screen that had Chelsea Man United on it, and every time I seen you veering away, slap you back round to the game you're getting paid for. But every time we looked up in the second half, it was in the United third. I mean, Chelsea seemed to be well worth it, and Benitez again gets a bit of booze for some of his substitutions, but again they work out.
Well, Benitez did this in 2 Europa League games in a row, brought in substitutes, Hazard and Oscar was the other one. 2 games in a row, and they go and score the winner, and they still get dogs abuse for it. And this time they were 2-0 down, and they were being well beaten, and he made the changes. And there is no doubt about it, Chelsea absolutely battered Manchester United in the second half. And the weird thing is, it was as if the teams had changed strips. The players had actually... Because how many times in the second half of the game have you seen Manchester United, at Old Trafford, pinned down that left-hand side, never getting out? Well, that's what Chelsea done to them. It was extraordinary. Strangely enough, it was the same side. It was down towards that side there. So
I'm beginning to think you watch more of Man United Chelsea than he led on.
Well, yeah. He
second half.
kept drawing my attention to it, I must admit. But it was stark just seeing how well Chelsea pinned them in. They just couldn't get themselves out.
Same old story with Torres, though. It's almost like his neck's broken about here, because the body language is just awful.
I think he's dislocated both of his shoulders as well, because they're way down there somewhere. You know, it's really disappointing to see it, because he keeps on trying to make the same runs, but I mean, Jason had a chat. Each time he was going, I was saying, don't worry, it's only Fernando, it's not going to go in, you know, because you just don't feel it anymore, even by the way he's running. And you say the body language isn't great either, but the one thing you keep on saying about the guy, he does keep on trying. He does keep on trying to go into the right sort of areas, but it's just not happening. It's miles away from it just now.
We were talking about something that we didn't get a chance to really do in Match of the Day too, which was the unwritten rules of football. It was just a conversation we had this morning, so we'll share it with everybody. So the one that annoys you the most, Jace, is defenders shielding the ball, which would be obstruction anywhere else in the field. To let
Anywhere
it go out.
on the pitch, you're not allowed to obstruct the opposition. Furthermore, if I'm trying to close the ball down and you're standing in my way and you just throw yourself to the ground, you always get the free kick. It's like the referees and the linesmen are conditioned to give a free kick in that instance, and it just drives you crazy, because what's the point closing the ball down? You're trying to do the right thing, and someone just goes down and gets the free kick. It's quite easy. It's called buying the free kick, and they do it very well, most defenders.
My one is, it seems to be an unwritten rule. If a striker, a forward, a midfielder, whoever it is, has a shot, and a defender slides in to try and block the shot, but the shot gets away, keeper makes a save, hits the post, goes out for a corner, goes out for a goal kick. If the defender clatters the forward 2 seconds after the ball goes, it's not a free kick.
Yeah, it's like jailhouse rules. There's 2 seconds of jailhouse rules after you get a shot away. Either the keeper can do it or the defender can do it, and it just seems to never be called. It's never been called.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
This is why I moan on about it, because you can change the unwritten rules, because some of them have been changed. The unwritten rule of the goalkeeper is allowed to come out with studs roughly in your head. You know, when he comes out to get the ball, and up comes the foot. You just think, no, that's just assault. But there's less of that now, and I think it was a few World Cup ones. Batista. Yeah, that one.
Absolutely.
Well, the goalkeepers have a new one now where they can just come and just punch you clean in the face when they're going to punch the ball away, and that's play on.
Yeah. The other one
that was Schumacher.
That's it, yeah.
But there was another one, and I can't remember the French player, but it was Carlos did it in '86 as well in the quarter-final, but France won it in penalties, so that was okay.
You can change these unwritten laws. The best unwritten law they get rid of, which is kind of almost saved my life, is the fact that first kick, you could just thump the winger. That's it. So 2-1s, go in and thump and go right through them. Now they will actually probably will give the yellow card. They didn't used to. And the other one was my favourite one is changing. It's one of my big bugbears. If you were under 5'7" a few years ago, you stood out in the wing. Yeah. Nowadays you're allowed in, like Mata and Silva and all the rest of it. It's great. You stand out in the wing.
You're invited to the parties at Christmas. All sorts.
You name it.
Yeah. Another unwritten rule of football, certainly in terms of presenting and punditry and analysing, is that you two are the single dead last worst people at quizzes we've ever had in Match of the Day 3.
I'm pretty bad.
To finish tonight, I have written a quiz. It's penalty shootout format. 5 questions
you know what, I'm
each.
writing penalties.
No, exactly. Here's the thing, though. Jason, your questions are about you. Pat,
this could be
your questions are about you. Jason, your first question, who's this?
It looks like Jason Roberts.
Yep, one. Well done. I'm determined that you can both have a good quiz. Right, Pat, your first question, your first penalty. What's your date of birth?
1963.
Yep, correct. That's 1-1. All right. Jason, what's the most amount of league goals you've scored in a season, and who for? League goals in a season, and who for?
22 for Wigan.
21.
Oh!
So we'll give you
close.
half a point there. And it was for Wigan in the Championship. What year was that?
2004, 2005 season.
I think you might be right. Yeah, I didn't write that down, but I think you might be right. I'll give you half a point. How many caps, Pat Nevin? And how many goals did you score for Scotland? Caps and goals, please. This is from the SFA website, so no saying, oh, it's wrong.
Starts as caps.
Sorry.
28 caps, 15 starts, so it's only 15
Yeah,
starts.
28 caps is correct. How many goals?
5.
5
I
goals.
actually scored 6, but one was chalked off incorrectly.
He scored against all of the big teams as well.
Oh, absolutely.
He got 2 against Estonia, 1 against Malta, 1 against the USA when they didn't play football. Do you remember that era? And 1 against Brazil.
Oof.
No, not Brazil. San Marino.
Wow. Do you know the problem with that is?
Pat.
Do you know the real problem with that is? See, if you only get picked for those games, it's really tough to play scoring in other games. It's really tough when you're not in the pitch.
Right. When Grenada played the US Virgin Islands, Jason, in the 2012 World Cup qualifier, how many goals did you score, and what was the final result?
I scored 2 goals, and the final result was 10-0.
10-0.
Excellent.
It was a tough game.
Brilliant. I mean, every team have a whipping boy.
Yeah.
Apart from, I think, American Samoa, isn't it? Are they the worst international American Samoa?
It changes a bit, and it's which ones are official teams, and there's some that are unofficial national teams as well. But Scotland are somewhere down there.
So that's 2.5 out of 3. You've got Jace. See, I told you you could be good at quizzes. Pat, you won Player of the Year in 1984 and 1987 for Chelsea, but obviously you were a team player.
Yes.
So who won in the 2 years in between? 2 different players. Ooh. Who won Player of the Year for Chelsea, in other words, in 85 and 86?
Do you know, it wasn't Kerry Dixon, I can tell you that.
It wasn't Kerry Dixon, correct.
Kerry. One was David Speedy.
Correct. And who won it the year before you in 86? You love this player as well.
I know. Tony DeRigo?
You say Tony DeRigo. That's wrong. As a player, in fact, you were eulogising just today about off-air.
Stevie Clark, possibly.
You're talking about when he got injured and you lost your season because of it.
Oh, Eddie Nitzvicki, of course.
Eddie Nitzvicki. So that's wrong. So we're all tied. 2.5 each. So exciting. 2 more each. Ready? Jason, who was your last Premier League red card against? I want the team and I want the player you fouled.
Everton, David Weir.
West Brom, Jonas Olsson. The problem was...
It all comes back to
you were thinking about the word foul, which was a bit misleading because you actually physically assaulted the guy. You elbowed him in the face.
I don't remember that. Yeah, I don't remember
so if anyone would like to go to the iPlayer and watch back Jason's and Pat's view on Steven Gerrard's tackle on Gareth Bale, and then watch him against Jonas Olsson. No point, nil point.
You'll not be asking about my sending off, don't worry.
Pat, who was the first club you signed a senior contract with, and who was the last?
Clyde was...
Correct.
And the last one was Chester.
God, I thought I was going to get you there. I thought you were going to say Motherwell. Basically, on our Friday Night 5 live show, it's be shameless to plug here on something completely different, 7 to 10, kicking off with Pat Nevin and Perry Groves, 909 and 693 on the radio, on digital radio and on your television, previewing the weekend of sport with guests last week such as Jimmy Connors, Rodney Marsh and Rebecca Allington. When Chester were coming back in the business, we kind of agreed to make a donation, but the rule was for the first season, Pat and Perry had to be registered as players again. They weren't allowed to play.
No, we didn't. You didn't tell us that. That's the problem. You didn't tell... Because me and Perry were training up, thinking we'll get a game here near the end of the season. A whole season wasn't get ready for about 20 minutes near the end. Not a chance. It was never on.
So, as it stands at the moment, Jason, you can only draw.
OK.
Now, no help from any of the two of you here, because the question is about the other person. OK? Jason, last question. And you can make an educated guess. Who did Pat support growing up? Give him your full name, Pat.
Patrick, Kevin, Francis, Michael, Nevin.
Celtic. Celtic is correct. That puts you on 3.5 points. So you need this to win. If not, it will be a draw. OK? And then we say goodbye. No matter what happens, that's the good news. We say goodbye. Who did Jason support growing up?
I was watching him today closely and I couldn't see anything from any of the clubs at all. But I'll go Chelsea.
OK. He's went Chelsea, and as we say goodbye, it is...
Celtic.
Celtic as well.
Wow.
Bye-bye.
I'm impressed.